What's up, guys? How's it going? This is the Fantasy Football Lifeline Show. I'm Richie Chicago. I'm joined by my host, Jay Baller. What's up, dude?
How we doing, man? How we doing?
Man, super wild card weekend. I'm pumped. Had a couple of these. Sorry about that.
Oh, please. Yeah, I'm thinking this would probably be the best weekend of playoff football I've ever witnessed. There's been some really good championship weekends, but the fact we're getting 3 games each day, I already loved the win to stay in. I just think the intensity levels are different in these playoff games. So I'm pretty excited, to say the least. Got the garage set up, got the screen going. So we will be I'll be in there at least by myself, taking in the games, hoping that putting a little money in my pocketbook too.
Awesome. So I got a backstory for you before it started. So yesterday we did a show called a Shoot Shot Scorecast, and Matt Nagy came on the show as a chatter. So he's on the show today again. What's up, Matt Nagy? I don't know why he's here, but what's up? He'll take the buzz. He was literally just chatting the whole time, so he's going to interject throughout the whole show, I guess. So how's it going, man? Nice seeing you again. So, yeah.
Matt Nagy, I got some words for you, man, but we'll leave that for another day. The best thing that could happen to you is Deshaun Watson coming to Chicago.
Yeah, I know, right?
But it's the kind of deal that would require. We thought the Khalil Mack deal was big. Deshaun Watson would pale in comparison. And what hurts the most is it should have been there already. It should already be in the situation.
No, so. I know. But the Bears are in the playoffs, so it's not bad. Which is like 3 years, 2 out of 3. It's not bad.
You gotta enjoy it while you can. While I'm not a Bears fan myself, I'm gonna enjoy watching them. They got a chance. Hey, you never know what happens when it comes, to playoff time. Yes, the Bears are hurting a little bit. Yeah, the Saints are pretty good, but you made it here. You can't go to the Super Bowl unless you make it here. So, hey, it's a building block. Whether it's a building block for next season or something you can push through, and extend another round. You never know, but hey, at least it's January and you're still watching Bears football.
Yeah. Anything can happen in the Super Bowl, or anything can happen in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. So so I'm pumped. All right, let's do this Abby real quick, then we'll get started with the show. So the Fantasy Football Left-Hand Show is presented by PointsBet. PointsBet, it's America's fastest growing online bookmaker. So this is a traditional sportsbook that offers customers more markets than anyone else. Must be 21 plus at the moment. Only available in Illinois, New Jersey, and Iowa. We're rolling out Indiana and Michigan and Colorado next month. So that's going to be really fun. So in order to do this, make sure you download the PointsBet app at the iOS App Store or go to pointsbet.com, enter a promo code Lifeline, and they will match you up to $250. So you did this the other day. It was pretty sick. If you put $250 in, they give you $250 in free bets. So that's pretty awesome. But if you don't have that, you could put $50. They'll give you $100 to play with. So you get $150 altogether. Or if you put $150 in, they give you $150 also on top of that to play with. So it's a lot of money to play with for a big football weekend. So Boardwalk prohibited, must be 21 plus, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER for counseling and crisis services. All right. Super wild card weekend. Are you excited?
I'm beyond excited. I'm excited for this show. This is something we've talked about since like week 8, week 9. We're like, we'll do something for the playoffs. And I think again, I knew what we were looking at. I knew that there was going to be 6 games. How it just kind of slipped my mind, and here I am on the eve of it. And I'm beyond excited because there's some really cool matchups. There's a lot of fun bets out there. And then we got our partners there at PointsBet. Highly recommend checking them out this weekend. Again, promo code Lifeline, going to match up to $250. What's cool within the free bets, something I found, you can actually split those free bets up. They're going to give you a chunk of money for free. You're going to be able to at least split it up 4 ways. I think that's extremely fair. I like that. Some of these other sites I've been forced to make my whole free bet. So I like that I could split it up on there. And they just have, so like you said, it's robust. I've spent a lot of hours on there digging in and trying to find just some little cool bets within this points betting world. Highly recommend you go on there. We'll post as well. They have some how-to videos with some former NFL stars, and it's a really good explanation. I think it's something that if anybody's prop betted on the Super Bowl, it reminds me of that. They have bets around everything, a bunch of different data points that you can go into. You can look at a bunch of things, a bunch of fun bets. They have a name your bet function, which we're going to get into, and we're hoping we can get one named for us. But yeah, it's robust. Check it out. I highly recommend it. I blast in there, and hey, every time I talk to Rich about it, it seems like he's just printing checks over there. So if he can do it, then anybody can do it. So you're in good shape.
Yeah, it's super fun. All right, let's get into the slate of the game. So it's off the Saturday game, the Colts at the Bills. When I did the spread, it was 6.5, over under 51. What are your thoughts on this game? Player props?
A little bit, yeah, everything. We'll dive into a little bit of everything here, guys. I think it's just everybody's doing things. There's a bunch of different pools you can do, but there's so much gambling out there these days. Whether it's $10, $5, $20. Somebody sends you a pool, somebody talks to you about it. If they haven't sent you anything yet, you better get on your phone and start texting. Most people will take this stuff up until noon tomorrow. A lot of them are ran by friends of friends, colleagues, work people. But by just having a little backstory in some of these games, it could help you with some of these decisions. As wild card weekend would have you think, typically the favorite team goes in and wins. We got some interesting matchups, and nothing more interesting than this Colts-Bills game. First things first, what we were talking before the show, Rich, really cool. The Bills are going to have fans. 6,500 fans, if I think I remember seeing. I believe they were able to test up to 5,000, or COVID test up to 5,000 the fans, and if you have to have a negative test and a proof of negative test to enter the stadium. That's something you're going to have to get used to. If we want to be watching football games in the stadiums next year, that's something that's going to happen. I'm really excited that we're going to see some of these teams testing that out. My wife worked for a tech company. They actually were the individuals that ran the bubble and talking. She's been on calls with some of these owners and the people that are leading the league, whether it be executives or commissioners. And their goal is to really implement technology and tracing and testing until we have everybody has a vaccine and with this thing's eradicated. So it's not going to happen anytime soon. By this time, when we're watching football next year, stadiums are going to be at 50% capacity, 75% capacity, and you're probably going to have to be showing a test. So I think it's cool that the Bills are doing it. I think that's going to bring a raucous crowd to a game that was already going to be a pretty interesting matchup. They got the Colts back in the playoffs with Phillip Rivers, got Josh Allen playing like an MVP. I think Allen, he's got something to prove. He took 2 tough losses this year to Mahomes and to the Cardinals. Aside from that, he played lights out, and so I expect Josh Allen to keep that rolling. His best player is Stephon Diggs. He proved it. He basically put his money where his mouth was. Demanded a trade, went to a situation that he he really liked, and it's been a match made in heaven, those two. So I see those guys continuing to really put up big numbers. There's some couple over-unders we'll discuss here in a minute. But as the game itself, I do think the Bills take this one. From a cover standpoint, I think the Bills also do cover at home. First playoff game there in a while. They got a lot of young guys that have a lot of emotion. And not that the Colts are playing bad. I think they're a good playoff team. But I think the Bills are playing great and are going to just bring a lot more to the table. Jonathan Taylor probably stays hot. He's been excellent, but for the most part, I see the Bills. Doing very well in this game, and we're probably going to see something around the over. I do think it's a little too, it's probably right on. So that's something I'm staying away from. But the things I am going over on, we got Josh Allen. Am I looking at this right? Josh Allen is looking at 299.5 yards, I believe. I like the over on that. I love the over. I think that, again, he keeps throwing the ball like crazy. He's the only over that I like on the day. The only over. The rest of the time, we're going unders. I think Rivers, his pass attempts are going to be down. They're going to be handing the ball to Jonathan Taylor. They're going to try to keep Josh Allen on the sideline. I do think that Taylor probably gets in the 80s. I think his rush line sitting at 72.5. The game is going to be close enough where they're going to get to run their offense, the Colts, at least for an amount of time. And I do think that while the Bills have a good defense, I think Jonathan Taylor still gets that 72.5.
Yo, I think your thing is your thing froze. Okay, I'm pulling up, but yeah, that's probably right. Yeah. 1 second. I'll just go on real quick. So I like the under for the Rivers 262.5. I also like the Jonathan Taylor over 17.5. And also, I kind of like the under for Josh Allen, though, under 305.5 total yards. Because I don't think he'll go over 300, but he'll go over. It's weird. I think I like the under for that, but he won't go over 305. So it's weird. I think Josh Allen will go under. So I don't think he's ever gone over 300, has he, this season?
I'm sure. I guarantee he's gone over 300.
Yeah.
The guy is. Yeah. I know he's been a big touchdown scorer. That'd be interesting. It's not something I dug into too deep. I just know I think he's got something to prove. I like guy coming in. He's super hot. But back to what I was saying, the Devin Singletary thing. He averages 10 carries a game. The line right now is under is at under 29.5. The Colts defense has, to people that have carried the ball 10 times, they've only allowed 29.5 yards twice. They allowed 32 yards to Dearness Johnson of the Browns when he got 9 carries, and they allowed 41 yards to Aaron Jones when he got 10 carries. I don't know if Singletary gets the touches. Zach Moss has been getting the touches. While that number does look sexy, 29.5 rushing yards for Singletary, the data and everything that this team has done throughout the year, the defense on here, I like the under there. Again, he could scamper off. That's the only thing that's going to beat us is a long Devin Singletary run. I've only seen it happen one time, and it beat me. I think the Colts keep him chained up. So aside from that, the Bills cover at home. I think they've covered at home 6 out of 8 times this year. So it's something that, Phillip Rivers, he's going to have to play a really good game, going to have to really put some points on the board. I don't think that this Colts team is, hey, they put up a bunch of points on the Jags. These aren't the Jags.
Awesome. Yeah, I said my picture, but I actually like the over in the total for this in general. So I like the over 51. I locked it, so it was my mortal lock of
nice
for the whole salary slate. So yeah, I think it's a good game.
This is your lock. I love it. 51.
Yeah, all right. First one out the gate. So yeah,
I'm gonna highlight that one. I'm gonna jump in that one with you. Then, if you like it that much, you got somebody.
I love it. I discussed it in like another show, but like the over is 6-1 in the Bills' last 7 Saturday games. So it's going over like a lot at a time. So
I love it. That's exactly.
I love the Bills. I'm high on the Bills this season. I've been high since like last season on the Bills. I love Josh Allen, so he's good. He's a good guy. He's good.
The Bills are going to be good for. They're going to be good for a long time, and I think that they're the only team that can play with the Chiefs. I think whoever comes out of the AFC, the Chiefs or the Bills, I think that's a team that can take it. I do think I think the Chiefs could have the nod, but yeah, the Bills can score with the Chiefs. They played a close game already. I'm excited. It's a hell of a game to start off with. It's we got veteran Phillip Rivers versus this new young gun Josh Allen. it doesn't, the rookie Jonathan Taylor coming super hot. Hey, this could be Rivers' last game, and it could be Rivers' last game. And hey, you never know what he's going to come out there. I've seen Phillip Rivers, really work some magic. So again, every game has a storyline like this. So it's hey, that's what playoff football is all about.
Yeah. All right. So Rams at Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by a little over a field goal. Over under 42.5. What are your thoughts on this game?
So I think the big question mark here, we don't know anything yet, as you and I were just talking. Jared Goff, we don't – if he plays, I don't know what that shoulder is going to look like. John Wolford, standout from the AAF, is the quarterback and was the quarterback last week that led them to victory. While over a hobbled Arizona team, it's still a viable NFL football team that has played with a lot of good teams. Hence, a team that beat the Bills, 5-6 weeks ago. So, no slouch. The guy managed the game. He made one mistake early, and then kind of was like, "Hey, I got the best defense in football. I just need to keep this game in line." And ultimately, I think that's really what it comes. That's what the game comes down to. I think this is going to be an old school football game. And if you've watched any of these Rams Seahawks games this year, that's what it's been like. You got Jalen Ramsey and DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, getting off on each other like it's Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. I mean, that is an old school wide receiver cornerback battle that has gone on, twice. We can see it a third time in the playoffs. I'm excited for that matchup. Again, hey, I do the Seahawks covering. The Seahawks are awesome in the wild card round. Russell Wilson is awesome in the playoffs. They're pretty healthy. Jamal Adams is still kind of that big question mark. We're not sure what we're going to see out of him, but he's been banged up all year, and they've been fine. I think what I've seen out of the Seahawks the last few weeks is this boring offense that they ran last year. This a lot of running, a lot of play action, and I really. It's not their bread and butter. If you remember those first 10 weeks of the season where, Russell Wilson was on track to throw, 62 touchdowns or something absurd, they were airing the ball out. Now, I know it's hard to do with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, on defense there, but they got to do something. They have to get away from that game. If they allow the Rams to make this a possession game, slow it down, not let Russ cook, we're going to definitely see the under here. And hey, that 3.5 is going to be tough to cover. I see this coming down to a last second field goal. That's how good this Rams defense is. What's going to be troubling is if Cam Akers is back feeling good, and if John Wolford can put just one touchdown on the board, I'm getting a little scared on the Seahawks. So those are some things to keep an eye on. What are your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, so I like Metcalf over 75 yards. I love the Seahawks in this. I don't know, like we said, who's starting, Goff or Wolford, but either or. I like the defense of the Rams. I'm just interesting prop pick. I feel like Russell Wilson will throw an interception. It's plus 275. Since the Rams defense is pretty good, I feel like you might throw an interception.
Just to throw one interception?
Yeah, exactly one. Yeah. Plus 275. So I like that. So I'm going to do that one for my player prop. It's very interesting.
That's one of this matchup. Metcalf. I don't think he's gone over 70 yards on Ramsey yet this year. Again, I don't have it pulled up here, but I just got this feeling that this is the game. I'm doing a fantasy league, and you pick one player from each team. You got all the positions. A lot of fun. I took Metcalf knowing that he might get shut down this week, but what if? What if this is the week where he has just that monster performance against Jalen Ramsey? Now, I do like Tyler Lockett a little bit more in everything. Touchdowns, receptions, yards. Again, I'm not taking all of them, but what we've seen is DK Metcalf has been completely shut down by Jalen Ramsey, and it's allowed Tyler Lockett to really do whatever he wants. And he's too good of a receiver to let that happen. I think that's how the Seahawks are going to win the game, whether DK gets loose or Lockett gets loose. it's going to come down to, they need one of those guys to have a big game. And so I'm kind of hedging here. I've got, DK in a fantasy league. I'm going pretty heavy on Lockett catches and yards. So it's really, really interesting. And I saw a really sweet bet on PointsBet where they add up the minute the touchdowns, the time in the game where the touchdown scored. I thought his was a little low. I think, if I recall, I think it was in the low 20s. This is a game where he could easily catch 2 touchdowns. He could catch the touchdown to win the game. That's the kind of game we're looking at. In the playoffs, guys, you're going to see us talking about, a bunch of guys. We're talking about the studs here. You don't want to gamble on guys that are the question marks are so high. We want to see guys play. We gamble to enjoy watching the game. So I'm not going to be out there saying, David Moore is going to have 26.5 catches or 26.5 yards. I want to play with Metcalf and Lockett, even if I know they're going up against Rams and this Rams defense. So aside from that, hey, I have a bold prediction you see here, Rich. I think this is the game. I think Metcalf puts on 150 up on Ramsey.
That's a lot. That's a lot of yards.
That's a lot. That's a lot of yards. That's 2 big plays. Jalen Ramsey has been known to give up the big play to the greats. He doesn't do it often, but there's this law of averages, and right now the law of averages are way over to Jalen Ramsey. DK Metcalf is due, but again, hey, Jalen Ramsey's a player. I want to say it, so if it happens, I look good, and if it doesn't happen, I can just hey, it was bold. I told you it was a bold prediction. So I think the Seahawks win this game, but I think the Rams cover.
Yeah, I actually am picking the Seahawks to win it. I feel like they're going to win it, but they're going to cover too. So I feel it's by touchdown, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hey, this is one again. I'm very excited. Nothing like a divisional matchup in Wild Card Weekend against 2 teams that know each other very, very well, and we know Russ. This was supposed to be Russ's MVP year. Man's on a mission. He doesn't have the best defense, so Russ is going to have to come cook.
Yeah, Mr. Unlimited. Let's go. All right. Next game, we have the Buccaneers at the Washington football team. Tampa Bay's favored by 8 points. Although we had 8.5 on your whatever.
I think if it's 8, it's down from again. It's been moving. Yeah. It's one of those that's really been moving all week. And it's been moving in the direction of the Washington football team. Surprisingly, I know Evans is a little banged up. Ronald Jones is coming back, but I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm surprised that the line is shaded that much. I've read a lot about this game because I think this is the most of this weekend, the biggest question mark. We got Tom Brady, who's never been a wild card team in his 21 years, 6 Super Bowl, has never been the wild card team, coming into the playoffs. So he's going to Washington again. This is not going to mean anything to him. This is another game, but you got a team there, in Tampa that hasn't done this a lot. And that's why they brought guys like Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Brady. These guys have been around the block. They've played in these big games. So I think he's got a lot to prove. Dude's having an amazing season. I think the one thing you got to keep an eye on is the Evans injury. If he's in the game, we're going to talk about it, but I think he's looking at 70.5 yards. I think he's a decoy this week, so it's a really good bet because I don't think the targets are going to be there. Godwin's healthy. Antonio Brown's healthy. Those guys have been scoring. Those guys have been really starting to light it up. I think they'll be fine without Evans this week. But hey, it's unknown. We won't know until tomorrow. That's the big. So I don't know if it comes out and you see him running sprints in the pregame. Maybe you don't take the under, but I'm feeling pretty good about the under 70.5 because I think Evans is going to be a decoy this weekend. But aside from that, hey, it's one of those that could. And I say, because it's either a close game or a big game. But this could be a grinded, a defensive battle that grinds out, where we see a lot of Antonio Gibson. We see a lot of Ronald Jones, who's back, who was electric before he got hurt. Or we again, we can see that Brady that played against the Packers and just lit up the scoreboard. So I think this is huge. This is a really big game for Tom. I think the Buccaneers win outright no matter what. I don't think Washington has a chance to win this game. I do think they have a chance to cover. Why? At 8.5, I thought they had a chance to cover. And so 8's getting a little closer than I'd like. They opened the weekend and close to the 9s, but I like it at 8.5. 8, I don't know if I like it as much, but I think that that defense is for real. Now, Ron Rivera is a really good coach. He's going to have those guys ready, but where they lack is that they have their offense. The offense they don't put up points like everybody else. Alex Smith, while he is back, you could tell he was labored. They had trouble, against that Philly defense. They had enough trouble against that Philly defense, and I think the Tampa Bay are a lot better than Philadelphia. The Buccaneers are going to be able to bring some heat, and if Alex Smith gets banged up early, he can just sit there. This one's over. So if Alex Smith feels good and he can get out of the pocket, he can get open, he can find guys like Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin. Hey, we're gonna have a game because you never know what Bucs team shows up. But I don't think Alex is mobile enough to be the quarterback that the football team needs this weekend against the GOAT and Tom Brady. So what kind of I know you dug into all these. What kind of lines you like? What's some of your favorite props here?
Yeah, so I found one that's really interesting after you talked about Alex Smith and actually going through the whole game. I like the under in passing yards, 216.5. I think that's interesting because I don't think he's ever passed that much ever since he's been back. So I think
he had one game over 300, if I recall. Yeah. I can remember off the top of my head. But no, I don't honestly. I don't think that. I think that's a great one. The Bucs defense is pretty good. They're better against the run than pass, but I don't see him being able to open it up. McLaurin is also a little banged up. He's gonna be in there. He's gonna be fine. I think he had like seven targets, 4 catches, 60 yards, touchdown last weekend. He's gonna still be okay, but he's not the guy that was in that Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys. That team, that Washington football team, that team could have beat the Buccaneers. We're a long time removed. There's too many injuries, too many guys banged up. That's what happens when you get to January. And I just don't see it happen. But I will say, you're gonna have to score some points. And I love this Logan Thomas guy. I've talked about him all year on our show. I wish I felt pretty good at my tight end spots. I wish I would have jumped on him. Guy got really hot at the end of the season. He was the 3rd best tight end after Kelsey and Waller, I think the last 6-7 weeks of the season. He's been the guy catching the red zone touchdowns. We know Gibson's a little banged up. McKissick comes out of the backfield. But I think Logan Thomas, if I remember right, I know I wrote it down here, plus 205 anytime touchdown. I like that. I like that a lot. Just because I think that they're going to score 2 or 3 touchdowns there. They're going to have to go to somebody, and I do think he probably provides the best matchup for them when they get near, and if not in that red zone, with them being pretty banged up. So, yeah. Aside from that, I think Ronald Jones 61.5. I like the over there. They're going to feed him the ball early and often. I know Washington, they're actually better known for their pass defense, mainly because of that pass rush that that comes from Chase Young on the outside. And Montez Sweat and who's the guy in the middle from Alabama, Payne. I mean, it's a studly, but they're more known to play the pass. They're a little softer on the rush. I think they're top 15. So I do think Ronald Jones gets his 61.5. Talked about it. Mike Evans 70.5 under yards. I'm taking that all day. And then with the Tom Brady, I do think he does. It's that was the one that was 295. I do see him sticking under that 295 and a half because that's the defense. And I think if they get a lead, they're going to run Fournette. They're going to run Jones. They're going to control the pace of that game. And they're going to try to squeeze it out. But you never know. Tom could say, screw it. I want to throw 7 touchdowns. And you just have to flip the coin and get it right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I like that Logan Thomas bet. So I want to do that Logan Thomas first touchdown accelerator bet. It looks interesting. The accelerator bet on PointsBet, it's only on PointsBet. So it's like a more thrilling way to do first touchdown score markets. It rewards you for scoring first. I don't think he was going to score first, but I feel like he's going to score maybe second or third. But I guess the point value is at 36, or no, not 36. It's 24. So if he scores either first or, let's see, 75. First or second, you still win. And he scores the second. Yeah, it's pretty sick, yeah.
And that I like, that's another cool thing with PointsBet, guys, is that's been one of the favorite bets. These me and my friends, these first touchdown bets, they have a function where it might not score the first touchdown, they might score the second. They have a point system how they allot those that score, and so highly recommend if that's one of the things that get you fired up is seeing that first touchdown. And, I might as well bring it up now. I was on another podcast this week. I made a comment about Davante Adams and first touchdown profits. I said I think he'd hit it 7 times. I can confirm Davante Adams did have 7 first touchdowns for the Packers this year. So
wow.
That's one that we'll be talking about. That's one I'll be taking till the sun comes home. So again, it's a fun way to do it in a game like this where we're not really sure who's going to be touching the ball first. Logan Thomas, I think I like him, especially if you can go 1 or 2. So not bad at all.
Yep. All right. Next game we have the Ravens at Titans. When I did it, it was -3. 54.5 is the over under. The most fun game of the weekend. What are your thoughts?
The most fun game of the weekend. This is going to be a blast. And if it's not a blast, then it's going to be old school, old-fashioned football, and that's I almost have just as much fun watching those games. Yeah, I almost have as much fun watching those kind of games. I think, and I know we had, this is one of our longer conversations. I think the Ravens pull this one off. I like what they've been doing at the back end of the year ever since that Dallas game. They've been lights out, and it's because they've been running with Lamar again, and he's been throwing the ball, and guys have actually been catching it. So Marquise Brown hasn't had a drop in 4 weeks. Mark Andrews looking like the stud we knew he was. We got Dez Bryant catching touchdowns again. Miles Boykin looking good as that quick clock guy. And then J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins. A guy I was high on all year. Thought he would be a fantasy winner. He played really well at the end of the year. He's getting out the right time, and that kid is electric. He's a game changer. Comes from Ohio State. There's no such thing as a game too big for him. And so, hey, I think that while we're talking rush yards upon rush yards upon rush yards, in the most likely scenario, I think we're looking at a situation, and this is one we want to create the bet where Ryan Tannehill and Lamar Jackson go over 5.5 passing touchdowns. I think this is one of those where both teams are going to gear up so hard to stop that run that it's going to open up the window for guys like Dez Bryant, who he's sitting at plus, where is it at? Dez Bryant sitting at plus 325 to score. Guy's had 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. He comes in the red zone, they throw it to him. He scores. It's what he's done his entire career. So it's a perfect mold for something like that. But I see the scores coming through the air because these defenses stop it, try to stop, the run so much. I think we're going to get a spitting image of that Cleveland-Baltimore game in Week 14 that was just electric and exciting, and what started as this running matchup with Chubb and Hunt and Jackson and Dobbins and Gus Edwards turned into a shootout. And Ryan Tannehill can run. Ryan Tannehill can throw. There's a ton of weapons all over the field. Both defenses are okay. I would give the nod to the Baltimore defense, and that's why I think they take this victory. But hey, Lamar Jackson is playing like the MVP again. They're not going to let the Titans beat him again. I love the over. I think the Ravens win. I think the Ravens cover, and I think we get a ton of fireworks.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's a very hard game. I don't know who's going to win this one. It's going to be a very close game, I feel like. I do like Ryan Tannehill under 33.5 QB pass attempts because that's interesting. I don't think I think it'll be a running game, honestly. So I think it'll be passing that much. Derrick Henry doing a lot of the load, I feel like. So it's an interesting game.
120 and a half. 120 and a half is his over-under, which is absurd.
No, 33.5. 33.5.
No, I'm talking Derrick Henry is 120 and a half.
Yeah.
For his rushing yards. It's so possible, but I'm staying so far away from that. That's so wild. 120 yards on a good defense. It's absurd to think that that's something that is possible. So we'll be letting you guys know. We're going to try to make the bet. We want to do the Tannehill, and we want Tannehill, Lamar Jackson over 5.5 passing touchdowns. That's as bold as it gets when it comes to two of the best rushing offenses in football. And a guy, Lamar's no slouch when he puts it in the air. I will say, but my favorite bet of this game is Lamar Jackson under 206.5 passing yards all season. He's only broken 206.5 yards 4 times. He's only broke 250 once. The 2 games he broke 206, he had like 208. So that's why the line is at 206.5. His high is only 275. And I feel that rush offense has only gotten better as the year went on. And so, yes, they're going to be able to put the ball in the air. They're not going to be moving the ball long distances through the air. So I love the Lamar, 206.5. Again, he might rush for more yards than he passes for. So don't think that it's going to, under 2.5. Look at his stats, guys. He's 175 a week. And, we're looking at a game where the clock's going to get churned out. He's not, if they're going to be handing the ball off, he's going to be running. It's the same. I think might be my favorite bet of the whole weekend.
Nice. I like that bet. What do you think about Dez Bryant?
I think he scores. I think they love Dez Bryant down there. They love the energy. He's like a kid playing with him. And he's got to be great for the locker room. He's such a contender. And he's a veteran, and it's a young team. They have guys like Mark Ingram, but Mark Ingram's kind of been put out to pasture. And so they need that that voice and that attitude and that energy, and I think he brings that, especially on offense. He's not afraid to go out there and block for the run. He's not afraid to go across the middle and catch the 4-yard slant. And again, I love that they're designing. Just like you design plays to get your center easy baskets, they're designing plays for Dez in the red zone. I love his chances of putting another one up this week. The Titans are okay on defense, and when you start to look at the red zone dominance that they can have, you got Lamar can run, you got Dobbins can run. You might have Dobbins and Edwards in there at the same time. Both those guys are a challenge. Hollywood Brown is as fast as they come, and Mark Andrews is one of the top tight ends in football, especially in the red zone, and he's his favorite option. And I just mentioned him 6th, so I like Dez Bryant's chances of scoring. Again, love I would love to see some of these touchdowns come through the air because we're going to look like smart guys.
Right, we are the smart guys. I mean, screw it. All right, next game.
I'd like to think
game of the week for me at least. Bears at Saints, New Orleans. What I have from 2 days ago is minus 10.5, but it definitely moved. I think it's 9.5 now, and then over under is 47. It was 47.5 now. It's wild. It's a roller coaster almost.
Yeah, it's moving because I think it's moving. And again, I don't know. This is complete speculation. One, the Bears have gotten some positive press this week from an offensive standpoint. 2. The Saints, we still don't know for sure about Kamara and Thomas. I mean, we're like almost sure. Kamara tweeted out he's playing. Thomas is set to play. We know that the Bears are going to be beat up on defense. We got no Buster Screen. Jalen Johnson is a big question mark. Roquan Smith, I believe, is out or Screen's out. Roquan Smith is another question mark, trending in the wrong direction for a start on Sunday. But again, not Roquan Smith's not somebody you want out when you're going up against Alvin Kamara. So it's interesting. It's as interesting of a matchup as it gets. It's the best draw that the Bears probably could have gotten. One, they've beaten the Saints already this year. But this is the last two draws for the Saints, and the Saints have been known to lose this game. They've lost this game the last 2 years. So it would not surprise me for the Bears to go in there, play a close one, get a crazy score from the defense, and keep it close. So that's why I think we've seen this line as people talk, and it comes down. Also, we got the Chicago market is the third largest gambling market in the country. Of course, they're going to take the points. When you double-digit points against an offense that's playing okay and that Bears defense, hey, I might take points. I'm not personally going to, but if I was a Bears fan, I'm taking those points. I like it. It makes, especially if you lose, it kind of cuts some of that sting away. But over the 47.5, again, that's another scary one because we don't know what two teams we're going to see. The Saints haven't been that light up the scoreboard electric team through the air that we know from the past. But they also haven't been healthy. They haven't had all their players on the field at the same time. And that could go either way. So you never know. And I think there's just too many question marks around that Saints team, which is why, that line, it's going to be hard to, put a finger on it. It won't surprise people if the Bears play it close. They just played well with the Packers for 40 some minutes, and then it just fell off. So they could put a whole game together. You get, Mitch doesn't turn the ball over. Montgomery keeps on like he is. We're having some fun in Chicago.
Definitely. I feel a good bet for this would be a teaser, honestly, because we did plus, I don't know, if we went 20, and then the over-under was
the Saints could come out and win by 20. And then I'm teaser on both sides. The Saints could come out and win by 25 points. And it wouldn't surprise anybody at all. Yeah. And the Bears could come in and cover on a last-second field goal, and it wouldn't surprise anybody at all, which is
100%
mind-boggling.
Yeah. For this game, I do like Montgomery rushing over 61.5 yards. He's been the go-to guy for the Bears. I have an interesting prop to Trubisky over 12.5 rush yards. I feel like there's maybe some place he might need to go out of pocket and maybe get a first down. So if he does it twice, that's over 12.5 yards. So that's one of my prop picks.
If the Bears want to win, Trubisky has to get out of the pocket. That's when he's the best. Just like Baker Mayfield. The last time I saw Mitch Trubisky live he was torching the Cowboys defense because he was getting out of the pocket and he was running. Again, we never know. Matt Nagy, he was on the show earlier. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. He thinks he's smarter than anybody else. And so he could be like, they think we're going to run the ball. So you know what? We're not going to run the ball because they think we're going to run the ball and they probably plan for it. So you never know what Nagy's going to do. But in my opinion, if they want to have a chance to win this game, Trubisky needs 50 rushing yards. Trubisky gets 50 rushing yards, and we're talking this is a game.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to see it.
13.5. I love
12.5. 12.5. So anything over 13.
12.5, even better.
Yeah, it's even better. Yeah.
Love it. Even better.
That's very low to me. I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then I saw one, Montgomery to score. I think it's in the low hundreds. I didn't write it down. I scored extra games. For a team that's made the playoffs, it's the law of averages roll in his direction that if the Bears are going to score, I like the chances of it being somebody like Monty. Now, the Saints have a great rush defense, but when they played, again, if Nagy does what Philly does, they're very capable. Montgomery and Trubisky can play just like Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders did. Those guys were able to run all over that Saints defense. So if they're able to put some of those schemes in on offense, again, I like Monty's chances of scoring, and I love Monty's chances of getting over 61.5. And I think the Trubisky over I'm glad you pointed that out because that's a good one. Wherever you can find that one. That one's not very popular. You probably have to dig around for that. But
yeah, I was digging for that one. I'm like, that's like a hidden gem almost. I'm like, 12.5 is very low.
Yeah, and then my bold one for this one is Michael Thomas getting 2 touchdowns. He's had a rough year. I don't even know if he found the end zone yet, but he hasn't played with Drew Brees much. He hasn't played much. It's only fitting if you get him going. This is a completely different team. They have to get him going. Kamara clearly is fine. He's been looking just fine. But if they get Michael Thomas going on that offense too, I think that team gets really scary here. Here in January. I'm bold. My bold prediction for this one: Michael Thomas gets 2 touchdowns. I think that you have to load up to stop Kamara so much that Michael Thomas gets the coverage that they want to see. And he's able to put 2 in. But yeah, I love the under. I think that both defenses are good enough to keep this in line. Both offenses are churn offenses that are going to want to run that clock, play the possession game. It really comes down. We lose the over/under on turnovers. Trubisky's been playing that the right way. He's been holding. All right, sometimes, not every time, but he's not been as bad as in the past. If he doesn't turn over the ball, I like the chances of that under. Again, if we start talking 2-3 turnovers, Bears cause a turnover, we're going to see this game get fun real quick. So, but again, I do like the with the way that the Bears are running the ball. I think Trubisky can hold on the ball. I think the turnovers will be in line a little bit. So yeah, Monty touchdown was plus 125, so I love that one. And
there has to be a prop bet. Sorry, I'm saying there has to be a prop bet for Mitch Trubisky throwing an interception because he always does one game where it's like a red zone, and there's always I guaranteed. I feel like except last time he didn't do it.
He always throws the stupidest interception. It's like
exactly, yeah.
I got one guy and there's 4 guys covering it.
Like 4 open. Like it's bad. But yeah, so I got to find that one. That's a good one. I was just thinking about.
What were you watching? But yeah, this game again. This is why we love the playoffs because I don't know what's going to happen. I won't. I think it's easy to say that when you show up to a game now, if the Colts Bills game is on and it ends up being 42-4 or 42-3 or 42-10, I'll be pretty surprised that wasn't a close game. The Bears come out, they play tight, it's close, not surprising. The Saints blow the Bears out again, not surprising. So that's what makes for fun, a fun the viewers' enjoyment. And I think as a member of Chicago. Not a Bears fan. I'm not a Bears fan. My wife is. I know you guys all are. And you got to enjoy it. I talk to people that have been upset with the draft picks. And, hey, after what I saw Philadelphia do on Sunday, I would much rather be playing in the playoffs, losing a draft position because it just sets up the next year. It sets up what your team believes in. And this is going to be no matter what happens to this Bears team in the offseason, this is a good thing. Going to the playoffs is good. This is still a young roster. This is a good thing for the organization. I don't necessarily believe in Nagy. I don't necessarily believe in Pace, but for the players to go in there and playing a playoff game, nothing compares. Nothing compares.
Yeah. We got in because of 7th seed, but it's fine. At least we got in. It's totally fine. Thanks to the Rams. Thank you guys. You guys got us in, but fuck it. Like. Aaron Rodgers is honestly, beast, so I fucking hate him, but yeah.
The Bears were like plus 275 to not make it in. And so I'm like, hey, the Rams are putting a backup quarterback out there. I know that the Bears aren't going to beat the Packers. So I liked that bet last week, but hey, it's what happened. So I'm happy for him. I'm excited to be able to watch that game. Again, with all of these, I hope they're all close, but again,
all right. He went away for a second. All right. So last game of the slate, we have the Browns at the Steelers, Pittsburgh -6, over under is 47.5. You're back. Awesome.
Somebody tried to FaceTime me. I tried to turn these notifications off. I don't know what to do. Tried to turn these notifications.
It's all good. All good.
I got to get a camera and a mic. I got to get all official cue.
No worries. Next week, if you do it in your garage, I actually have a camera, so it'd be a lot easier. So, a full-on camera, like HD, 4K, whatever. So we'll be good. We'll be good.
Right.
Yeah, we'll be good. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Last game of the slate, we have the rematch of last week, Pittsburgh versus Cleveland, but this time in Heinz Field. What are your thoughts on this?
It's the most boring game of the weekend. I think the Steelers just trounce the Browns. I love my Browns friends, and I hope they don't watch this. And I'm not going to tell them out. I'm not going to openly text them and say, "Hey, this is not good," but this is not good. Big Ben got to rest. They struggled against reserves last week. I know that most of the defense was playing, but still, it was Mason Rudolph. It wasn't, they weren't going all full tilt. They weren't playing a full playbook. They still had to play to the last whistle to beat the Steelers. I like this Steelers team. They're somebody they can make some noise. They woke up the second half of that Colts game. And I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and I haven't seen it, but he saw that Ben Roethlisberger has taken over a lot of the play calling. And has put in a lot of more audibles at the line because teams were calling out the plays before they ran them, and so he's tried to add a little bit of mixture there. It's clearly worked because they've looked great since that halftime. But going in, that team was they were moving in the wrong direction. I think they get it back here. There's some things I like. Ben. I like Ben this week if you're playing fantasy. From a yardage standpoint, I just don't know because I think this game could get out of hand. And they might put Mason Rudolph back out there to just not lose the game. That's how much I'm scared of Baker Mayfield going in there this week. That's how scared. They don't have their head coach. Kevin Stefanski's out. I know that I was like, how much? That's a huge difference. He runs that offense. He makes those play calls. It's 60 minutes of decisions that the guy's being paid $8-9 million a year to do for a reason. The backup, I don't know a lot about him. I should have wrote his name down. I feel bad, but that's not good to not have your head coach on the sidelines with you during that game. What I do like about the Browns is they got Nick Chubb. So for a prop situation, I like that Nick Chubb has scored in all but 1 week since returning week 10, and he has scored 9 in 11 games he's finished in. He is -112 to score. I'm all over that one. I think that, the Browns will still put points on the board. They can still move the football. And Chubb is still the go-to, the most likely individual to score, no matter the score in the game, no matter the situation. He's always a threat to break it. I love his, that's why he has so many touchdowns. Next year, you will find him near the top of my want list. I love the direction Nick Chubb's going. Reminds me of a young Emmitt Smith. Aside from that, Nick Chubb over 65.5 yards. Again, the guy can do that in one touch. Yes, the Steelers have an excellent defense, but if the Browns are going to have any chance of winning this game, they're going to have to run the football, and they're going to have to run it even when it's not going so hot. So he's going to get more chances. He's going to get his touches. Again, Baker's not a slouch. So I do think Chubb starts to get some chunks. 60 yards, I think, is very doable. I really hope that we get to see him in there longer. Again, I am afraid of a blowout. So if it's closer, we're going to see a lot of Nick Chubb. Either way, I like him at 65.5. I like him a lot. Landry, guy's a target machine. He's sitting at 5.5. I like the over there. And last week was the first time since week 12 he didn't have at least 6 catches. And he ended with 5 catches on 6 targets. So I think that it was a different game, the one they were playing last week. We'll see. He was at, I want to say, some of these weeks he's getting 9, 10, 11, 12 targets. If the game goes the direction I think it's going to go, 6 catches is going to be necessary, to keep it relevant, for the Browns. And then on top of that, Deontay Johnson, same reason. Guy's a target monster, 5.5 catches. Big Ben is going to go out there. They're a passing team now. They know that. And so I expect these target shares to go up for these guys, which means the catches are going up, the yards are going to go up. So I like Deontay Johnson over 5.5 catches, as he had double-digit targets 10 of the 16 games. So he just needs to get somewhere near that to make that, to get that to fruition. But yeah, I think that game is going to get ugly. I hope not. I want to see good football. That's a game that could be a really fun game to watch. I just think the Browns are a year away.
Yeah.
And it could be Big Ben's last game.
Yeah, that's crazy. I do like Chase Claypool anytime touchdown is plus 240. And I like Deontay Johnson anytime touchdown. That's plus 260. So I'll probably do like those two. Like, that'll be interesting because anyone could get a touch, but if you get like more than 2-to-1 odds, why not? Like,
yeah, it's a toss up with they collectively arguably have the best wide receiving core left in in the playoffs. Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins is really, really, really good. I hard to put it up against that, but true wide receivers, we take Kelsey out of that. We got Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju, all the guys playing well. Ben understanding that this is a passing offense. Eric Ebron, they're tight end, holding an anchor there in the middle. So hey, I agree with you. I think any of those guys are a good shot at putting one on the board. But I think Juju's probably the likelihood, but I like that play, the plus 240, plus 260 on both those guys because we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen time and time again, especially if the targets are coming. We'll see how the game plays out. I like those. I like the odds.
Awesome. Do you want to talk college football real quick? Or
I don't know. I don't follow a ton of college football until we get to the draft time.
Yeah.
But Ohio State looked pretty good against Clemson. I know this Alabama team is real deal Holyfield, and they always are. But I also remember another Alabama team that was real deal.
Oh. You might cut out, but yeah, to Alabama, Ohio State. I definitely feel like the over/under is kind of high on my end, so I'm gonna take the under in the Ohio State Alabama game. But yeah, keep going. What are you saying?
Every time my soundbar connects, it takes my AirPods away. So my apologies.
No worries.
But no, I remember when another Alabama team came in and were taken down by an Ohio State team. Urban Meyer, Zeke Elliott. That team was a lot of fun. I think Mike Thomas was on that team. I'm sure there was players left and right. I think Derrick Henry was in that game. I think that was Derrick Henry versus Ezekiel Elliott. It's gonna be an awesome game. We haven't got to see this full Ohio State team yet. I'm not afraid to take Ohio State on the money line. It's a champion. They're a championship team, just like Clemson, just like Alabama. We've seen crazier things happen in these college football championships. After having watched all of these, a lot of these games, these big, the conference championships and the playoff, I'm excited to see these two teams take the field. I can't give you a lot of, hey, is this going to, the over-under 75? Man, I hope so, because that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I'll take the under, because I feel like 75 is a lot, though, for like a championship. I know it's going to be close, but that's 75 close. That's a lot, I feel like.
These guys have, left and right players going in the top, in the first round of the draft. So
I know.
There's stars all over the field, and it sometimes becomes hard to match up them, to match them all up. You got the Heisman and Devontae Smith, what's his first TD is plus 550.
Yeah, I like that a lot actually. So I'm gonna take that on Monday.
For a guy that scored 18 touchdowns this year, and less games than Julio had, and Mike Cooper had. When you saw they put up a statistic, Calvin Ridley, Julio, Amari up against this Devontae Smith guy, he just doubled some of them. It just paled in comparison the kind of year he's had. So I can't, that's probably that's a fun one. That's a fun bet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll know within the first like minute or two. I feel like it's gonna be a bomb to him.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come quick. We're in for a great 3 days. 7 football games. Again, they're all. There's this common theme. Hey, we could see this being this could go one direction, or man, this could be really close, which is what you want to see when it comes to games like this. And I can't wait to come back next Friday and talk about the Final Four here. Yeah,
this is gonna be fun. All right, guys. Make sure you follow us on the Fantasy Football Lifeline Twitter. It's SYSSFB Lifeline. We'll just do a bunch of more, I guess. I used to be all like red zone like touchdowns, but since there's no more like fantasy, we'll just keep up with player props and all that throughout the whole like playoff thing.
I'm gonna do my best to to stay organized. At least on Saturday, I'll probably do a little bit more watching on Sunday, but keep organized and be able to to let y'all know if you did follow us here on some of these. We're gonna take them. This is where we're gonna put our money where our mouth is and see how we come out next week.
Yeah. All right. See you guys next Friday for the Fantasy Football Lifeline show.
See you, Rich. Enjoy your weekend, buddy.
You too.